It's Jim, landsforyou.com, just doing some housing price analysis right here. And I went to look to see if there's a simple land price index, and it ended up taking me to I believe it's the American Enterprise Institute, and they have historical land price indicators. And I pulled up, this is like economist talk. And ultimately, what ended up happening was I pulled this data set right here. I'm just going to show you. I'm targeting Phoenix, obviously, and let me let me just kind of break this data down for you. So they have data from going from 1984 all the way to 2018, and then they have the house prices right here. So you'll see. Let's take a look and see what conclusions we can draw. If we insert a line chart, we're going to see. Let's actually get that axis correct. We're going to get that right there, and then let's plot it. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so let's see. So it looks like house prices ran up from 2003 all the way to about 2006. Then maybe they came back down. Let's see. When did they peak? 2006, quarter three. Then they started dropping. And then they bottomed out right around 2011, and then they picked back up. That's interesting. So that's that one. And then let's compare it. So let's call this one home value. Let's call it Phoenix. Phoenix home value. Home value. All right, now let's do the same thing for land. So they also have the land value. Let me just move this guy out of the way. Let's do that. Let's plot that. And then let's make sure we plot that one as well. And then insert a line chart. Okay, and then let's do Phoenix land value. Okay, and then let's see what type of conclusions we can. Let me just try that again. Let me try that again. Okay, so looks like this one peaks a little bit sooner. 2005, quarter one, two. Then it bottoms out again, 2011, and then again it starts to rise. So let's zoom out and let's kind of compare these two against one another. Let's see if there's any type of insight we can gain. Reason being, because house prices and land prices might move differently. One might lead the other. Now these both start about the same date. They both trace pretty closely to one another. It looks like the land value, though, crashes much more drastically than the home value. And then it looks like the rebound from the bottom is a lot sharper, though, on a percentage basis. So that's interesting. One of the things we can do is we can actually rebase these and then compare them against one another to see if one's maybe leading the other one. If one is going first, that might give us some insight. So if we see that, for example, home prices are generally moving before the land price, and then we see that home prices have run up and now they're starting to crash, but land prices are still high, it might tell us that land prices might be about to crash. So let's take a look. Let me copy this data first. Let me get a fresh notepad, one sec. And then let me copy all this data into a new tab. Okay, and let me just copy these headers. And gotta insert these cells, shift the cells down. Okay. All right, and then let's freeze this right here. So we're going to go to View, Freeze Panes. Okay, now we can do some geeky data analysis. So let's take the home value and set that to 100. And then we're also going to set the land value and set that to 100. And then that way, both the home value and the land value are going to start as of the same date. So let's see. So how do we do this? let me pause for a sec to like refresh myself how to do this. One sec. Okay, so it took me a second, but I figured it out. Let me show you what I did. So you take the first value, so that's the home value, and then you divide it by 100, that's the home factor. So if we take the home value and then we divide it by this, then we're going to get 100. So let's set that as that, and then let's do the land factor. So the land factor is going to be, we take this land value and then we divide that by 100, and then perfect. And we're going to make this an absolute cell reference. There we go. And then we're going to do, copy that, I'm just going to do land index. And then that's going to be the land value divided by that. Perfect. So now these are set. We're now adjusting them so that they both have kind of the same starting point. And then we're going to plot both of these, see how they go up relative to one another. Interesting. Okay, so now we see, I mean, it gets all the way down to 12 while this one stays high at 157, right? Now here they're about even. That's interesting. And then, let's see. Up here, this one's rising, this one's falling relative to one another. So this is very interesting. So let's plot these, and let's see what we learn here. Let's see if one maybe leads the other one. So if we go insert line chart, I hope it turns out correct the first time. Chart design, insert. Oh, there it is. The chart's way up top. Okay. Oh, I inserted a couple. Let me get rid of that. Okay, there we go. So yeah, they're both starting out at a base of 100. Let me actually adjust this. It's not letting me adjust. There we go. Yeah, let me just keep it to simple numbers. Okay, so now they're starting off. Okay, now they're nice and big. And there's one that says date. Let me remove that. Yeah, it should be this one. Okay, now it should be all set. Perfect. Okay, so now the land price is in orange. So in the late 80s and early 90s, we see that home prices were slightly increasing to flat, but land value is decreasing. And then it looks like they started to pick up together right around the mid 90s. And then they both rose together. And then it looks like the land actually closed the gap and then exceeded. That's interesting, in 2005. So one of the conclusions that I might draw is that the rate of change on the increases, it looks actually very, very sharp, and it actually overshot the home value at the peak. So that might be an indicator that if things get way too hot, you might see land values exceed the value of the home. So the home value is a combination of the structure cost plus the land value. And at the peak, it looks like the land index actually exceeds the land index actually exceeds the home index. So let's take a look. That was about 2005. So let's just look at the data 2005. Let's look at these 4 quarters right here. And what do we see? The land share, yeah, it goes up. Looks like this is about the peak of it, 64, 65%. And yeah, the land price index actually exceeds the home price index. That's really interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. The land value accounts for a greater land share percentage. Yeah, accounts for more of the home value than the structure cost. That's interesting. I wouldn't have expected to see that, but normally it looks like the land share percentage, what's the average? It's right around 44. And so in 2005, 2006, it was in the high 60s. So yeah, that's an indicator that it might be hot. Right now it's in the 40s. And then let's see. And then when things started to crash, land greatly greatly overshot the home value. And then since it's risen kind of along with it. It hasn't really closed the gap. So this data doesn't tell us anything too conclusive. It doesn't say exactly, which one goes first. It looks like they kind of move together. There's no real mismatches and inflection points. It looks like when there's a height of a bubble or the height of the mania, maybe land overshoots, and then when it corrects, land really slams down to the downside. Interesting. Again, this is Phoenix, so Phoenix, Maricopa County. That's very different from your rural vacant land that you're going to see in places like Apache County, Navajo County. But it looks like right now it's maintained this gap that was there, throughout the 90s and into the early 2000s. So who knows, if we get another real housing spike, we might see this land value shoot up past the home index, like we saw in the mid 2000s. So that's my analysis. I don't know. I mean, this isn't the easiest data set to interpret, but just had some fun. Wanted to see, is there anything we can kind of tease out from these numbers? Not terribly predictive, but it's always good to look at data, rather than trying to make assumptions and guess. It's always good to sometimes look at the data and see if it tells us anything and see where it's at right now. So right now, again, this data is only up till 2017, so it's not even that. It's not even 2018 Q2. Okay, so it's not even that. It's what, 4.5 years old potentially. So maybe it's closed since then. I don't know. But given this, it looks like as of 2018, it wasn't like land was way overshooting the home index, which would potentially be indicative that things were going to go south. So again, who knows? Remains to be seen, but I hope you found that informative. If you have any questions or comments, just drop them below. And if you have any questions about buying land in Arizona, just check out landsforyou.com, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.